Let's go back down to Landover and check in with the quarterback of the Washington Commanders, Carson Wentz.
How would you describe your performance taking on your home team?
Yeah, not good enough. Definitely not good enough. Hats off to them. That's a good defense. It's a good team. They got after us, and yeah, I did not play to my standards, and especially early. I think that's tough, and unfortunately, back-to-back weeks kind of dug ourselves a hole there. And I got to be better, especially early on, so that we're not, having to throw the whole second half and let them play coverage and do some things differently. So I got to be better.
You were sacked 9 times. From your point of view, what do you think went wrong for you guys there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a culmination. Anytime there's a number like that, that is not the O-line. That is not all the O-line. I got to be better. I got to get rid of the ball in a lot of those situations and find a way to just find a check down and move on and different things like that. So hats off to their D-line, their front. It's a good front. But I got to be better and help our guys out. And I think it's a culmination also of being down. Having to come back, throw it around in the second half where that D-line can just pin their ears back and get after us. And so we got to be better, especially early, so we can avoid some of that.
You said on Wednesday you didn't know what the emotions would be, which is kind of what were they actually going through?
Yeah, once the kickoff happened, it was football again. It was kind of surreal pregame, seeing all those guys. The coin toss, seeing BG and Fletcher and Jason Kelsey. I was right next to him for years there, and so there's some surreal moments for sure, especially early in the game. Pregame, but once the kickoff happened, it was football again, and we got out executed.
It looked like you swapped.
Back on Plus Channel, here's our two-point conversion presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Items that Ruben thought would play into the outcome today. Number one, up the tempo. And the Eagles had 68 offensive plays, Rube, an average gain of 6.
Yeah, they ran a lot of tempo early, 17 tempo plays, no huddle plays. It's a big part of what they do. And, it's something you got to keep the defense in mind, too, because if you go 3 and out running tempo, that defense is running back out there. So you're showing a lot of trust in both sides of the ball.
And number 2, cornering Carson. And that's the understatement of the day. Wentz, 211 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 fumbles. But that 211 passing yards, what did he have at halftime? I'm trying to look
those
at
are 211 insignificant yards.
Yeah.
About minus 20. But, and you saw Slay traveling with McLaurin, which we kind of thought he would do. And I thought Bradbury did a nice job on Dotson. You didn't see Dotson do much at all. I think he had two short catches. And Maddox did his thing on Samuel. So those corners, one of the Eagles had 3 corners like that. It just gives Gannon so much flexibility to do so many different things.
To the podium we go. Jalen Hurts on this great win.
Hey Jalen, can you take us through the sequence on that play, those plays at the end of the first half when you didn't have timeouts and the seconds were ticking down? Devontae said the actual touchdown play wasn't in the game plan.
What else did he say?
That was what I remembered.
Yeah, well, we're in a situation in the game where we didn't have any timeouts. And pretty much we just had to make sure we're on the same page. Kind of loud in the stadium. So to his saying, it probably wasn't the intended call, but all 11 guys on the field being on the same page and making the play work, that was called from the quarterback. So he made a great catch. He made a really good catch.
So you put into words the kind of game he had today. I mean, acrobatic catches, 44 yards, 45 yards.
Yeah, I think that's who he is. He's a great player, all-around player. A slim reaper. By the eyes, he may be a little sly, but he plays like a big boy, and he is. He's a grown man.
So you talk about the crowd noise. Most of that was for you guys. Did you feel it?
Well, yeah, I want to give a special shout-out to the Eagles fans, everybody who came out to FedEx Field. It definitely felt like a home game. Just how loud it was in there, how much green and black was in the stadium. It was very, very impressive, and it was a sight to see. So, got to keep riding like that, keep going.
Sorry, so Jalen, you called that play then, that touchdown spinning. And what did you like about it?
He made a great catch. We kind of put ourselves in these situations all the time, and like I said, one thing I've talked about all week is being on the same page with the coaches, making sure everybody's on the same page, seeing the game the same way. So when there is a situation where communication is maybe not the best, maybe I'm not getting the play in because of how loud it is or whatever, they expect me to make it work with something that I know that will be that will put us in an advantageous place to execute the play. And that was one of those plays. Again, not having any timeouts, I think it was a really big time play by him to go up there and snatch the ball out the air, high point the ball, and get us points before halftime. And obviously, I look back on it, and we preach how important it is to double dip, and I'm sure that question will be coming soon in the second half and how we play. So I answer it now. Just coming out in the second half and I want to say not losing our intensity. I feel like everybody has the right type of focus going into the second half. We just have to execute. I think there are a handful of plays in the second half where it can go the whole entire other way if we just hit it. If we connect on the throw to AJ, a whole different feel in the second half. If we get Dallas the ball, if we handle a certain pressure a certain way, and those are all things that we can control, and that was my message to the team. We go out there, you look yourself in the mirror as a man, and you say, am I controlling the things that I can control? And if you can do that, that's how you get better. That's how you take steps, because that's a kind of a piece of accountability. But it's also the first step in the right direction to growth, controlling the things you can.
How important is that having to punt those first several drives? What did it mean that the defense was able to have such a dominating performance against Wentz?
Well, I think they were able to affect them early. Just the front seven, they played a great game. They played a great game. 9 sacks is, you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Here's the player to bank on, presented by First Trust Bank, the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. Devontae Smith, 8 catches for 169 yards, 21.1 yards per catch. Shoo! That's good. And a touchdown. How about that?
Even better.
As a defensive coordinator, you probably losing sleep over those two.
I would think so. And you have
so tough for a skinny dude too.
Yeah.
Really tough player.
And that's what Jalen Hurts made clear. He's like, by your eyes, he might be short of physical stature, but he can play. Here he is with John Clark.
All right, joining us now, Devontae Smith. And first of all, let's go through some of the plays. The great catch down the sideline. Did you get both feet down on that catch?
I feel like I did.
Have you been able to look at it at all?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
They couldn't get that challenge flag down in time.
I mean, that's something that we always go over. A questionable call, just going and getting into our fast play just to go ahead and eliminate the doubt.
It worked. Now, everybody talks about A.J. Brown winning 50-50 balls, but my goodness, you won that 50-50 ball, then you had a great catch in the end zone. How much do you work on those contested catches?
I mean, as a receiver, you have to work it. I mean, every day just going against our DBs, they make it tough on us. So that's what it comes down to in the mindset in the receiver room is our ball, nobody's ball.
How motivating is a guy like A.J. Brown when you're working with him, and how much have you learned from him?
Learned a lot. I mean, just off the go ball, I mean, pregame we was working on the lean back into him, push the low hip, and I mean, it came into play on the go ball. So, I mean, just any little thing that he teach me, I mean, I'm grateful for. I'm glad he's part of this team.
All right, everybody wants to know, how many capes were on the sideline?
It was one cape, just, for everybody.
So you wore it, A.J. wore it?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get in the end zone, you're going to put the cape on.
Is this going to be at every game now?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As Jalen Hurts was coming off, fans were chanting MVP at him. I believe he has the most total yards right now for any quarterback in the NFL. Some people are like, wow, look at the elevation of his play. How about you? What do you see from him, and did you expect this?
I mean, just the way he come to work, the way he approach everything, I mean, he takes it one day at a time. So, I mean, just continuing to stack. That's what it's all about. Never about who we're playing, things about that. It's about us and what we do.
What are the specific improvements you see in the games? We've heard in camp, like, okay, reading things quicker, getting the ball out quicker. What are you seeing in the games?
Just that. I mean, the things that he's doing in practice, it translates to the game. And, I mean, he's working hard. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. So that's why he's been successful.
Final question for you. You're 3-0 for the first time in 6 years. That's the last time the Eagles were 3-0. What's your mentality about how you've played so far?
One day at a time. 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time. Make the most of your opportunities. Continue to stack days, 1% every day.
1 day at a time. I mean, he's down with the, you know, the line, the company line. He's got it. They're all preaching it, and it's exactly
culture,
what
man.
Nick Sirianni is preaching as well. So here's our pick and click presented by our friends at Turnersville Auto Mall. Go to NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com/pick and click and answer this one. More impressive, Devontae Smith or the Eagles' defensive line? It's a tough one. Devontae Smith, who had, 8 catches for 169 yards and a touchdown?
I will tell you why it's the D-line. We knew Devontae Smith, look, he's never had a game like this, but we knew he's an elite talent, one of the better young receivers in football. It's just a matter of time before he had a game like this. I had a lot of doubt about this defensive front, whether they could generate this kind of pressure. So to see them do it and to see them really take over the game early, to me, that was huge.
Jaws?
Defensive line. I'm a big Devontae Smith fan, but I would definitely agree with Rube. The way it played out early in the game set the tempo, defense line, and 9 sacks. 9 sacks. Okay, that's enough said, Ron.
Yeah. Barrett?
And we sent that from 54 to, well, we knocked it down a little.
Usually,
Come on, let's talk more about it.
Yeah, usually I would try to go against these guys, but I can't do that. I mean, you got to go with the defensive line. They impacted the game so much that they won this game because of those guys up front. Like it or not, those guys came to play. They put it on Carson. They understood the mission. They went out there and played to above their expectations, I really believe. We wanted Hassan Reddick to go out there and make himself known. He definitely was a presence out there rushing the passer. This was just total domination by that defensive line, so I got to go defensive line.
Is this a defensive line that is finally kicking into gear? You know, you can't discount the opponent. Let me put it another way. Is it a defensive line that could be effective against any offense in the NFL?
I think you start out with, I don't think it was a very good offensive line they played against. But to get 9 sacks in a game is still pretty remarkable. So I don't think you'll see 9 sacks maybe in another game all season, but I think you'll see the pressure. And the pressure packages from Jonathan Gannon helped too. They didn't bring a lot of blitzing today, or dogs as we call the linebackers coming, but there was enough pressure where at least Carson had to be aware of everybody was in the field. It wasn't just a 4-man rush.
Showed some blitzes early, kind of got that look out there, and then had the front do the rest. I think we saw some good signs in the second half last week against the Vikings as far as pass pressure, and they built on it. They got to keep that going because, look, with this secondary and this D-line playing like this is a very good defense.
What's their depth like quickly? They have enough depth that, I mean, this is a game of attrition.
They go 4 deep at defensive tackle.
All phases of the game. They got the depth like Grant Calcaterra, the rookie, when Goddard sat out for a time. Made a nice catch.
Jordan Davis actually had pressure up the middle at a tip ball. You know, you see that
start the game
house coming after you. You know, it's going to scare you a bit.